In today's special Yuletide Battle Report, Napoleonic-era adventurers search for lost relics as we play a festive co-op game of the Silver Bayonet. Well, hi folks, welcome to the channel. I'm Lee, your old hammered host. I'm here with Lynn.
Hello.
And this is our Silver Bayonet holiday special. This is actually the second scenario from the solo section of the book, the ruined chapel, but we're changing it to the ruined gingerbread house, I guess. And again, we are playing it cooperatively. So we have two teams of hunters here. There is Captain Conager's crew and the Prussians, led by Colonel Bierwagen. So their mission today is to go out into the wilderness and find the ruined chapel, the lost chapel, and recover some sacred artifacts that should be scattered about. But unfortunately, this chapel is guarded by a bunch of revenants, aka zombies, and a vampire. And because we have a festive holiday theme going on, which you probably noticed, our vampire will be played by none other than Krampus. And the revenants are going to be these gingerbread men and some zombie carolers and some animated snowmen and folks like that. So Lynn, as in the last game, the first thing we do is roll for some initiative. So we're going to roll to see which one of us is the prime player. My team got a 6. You got a 3, so I am the prime player. So the sequence in the turn is basically going to be I'm going to activate, then the monsters will activate, and then your team will activate, and then we go to turn 2. Now at the end of every turn, a new revenant is going to show up. At the end of turn 1, a vampire shows up in a random corner, and at the end of turn 5, another vampire shows up. So time is of the essence. The vampires are bad news on a stick. We really don't want to fight them. We do have some silver weapons and some fire, and hopefully we'll acquire some blessed weapons along the way. But we'd rather not fight the vampire if we don't have to. So our goal is to try to grab the artifacts and get off the table edge as quickly as possible, because by turn 5, the second vampire will show up, and if we haven't dispatched the first one, then 2 vamps. That might be more than we can handle. I don't know.
They are pretty nasty.
They're pretty darn nasty. They're ethereal. They're immune to most weapons, most normal weapons anyway. And yeah, they're hypnotic. They have soul shear. You know, basically cause terror. So there's a bunch of bad stuff that could happen if you're tangling with a vampire. So we will try to avoid it. So for setup, we can set up our teams anywhere within 2 inches of the edge of the mat. The scenario is normally meant to be played on a 2.5 by 2.5 play area. We're playing it on a 3x3 mat. So it might be slightly less killy in the short run, but also it'll take longer to reach any of the objectives.
And get away before the next vampire shows up.
Right. So here we are set up for turn 1. Lynn had suggested that we set up close to each other so we could have fire support rather than each team going off to separate corners. So here's my team here. This is Captain Conager's crew. Here's Lynn's team, the Prussians, led by Colonel Bierwagen. And I'm going to start. Then the monsters will go. Then the Colonel's team will go. And then we place a vampire somewhere on the board, as well as an additional revenant. So we'll just have to see how that all goes. And our goal here is to try to find these artifacts. So we're going to have to get to these objectives. We're going to have to move up to them, pass a search check, and then try to see what is inside. And then the monsters will spawn from these little trees, except for the vampire, who is going to spawn from one of the corners, and we don't know which one yet.
Hopefully not our corner.
Yeah, it would be especially bad news if he materialized back here, so we hope that doesn't happen. So I'll start by moving my junior officer, Lucky Bill. He's nimble, has 2 pistols, and a fencing weapon, and he is moving 6. So Lucky Bill is in range to shoot that revenant there. The revenant's going to get cover from the little Christmas tree, and Lucky Bill moved, so that is a -2 for Lucky Bill. Revenant has a defense of 12. Lucky Bill has an accuracy of +1. 13, 14, -2, so that's 12. That's enough.
Yay!
Yay. So I scooped up my dice before I checked the damage, but I believe it was a 6 on the power die. So that's going to do 6 points of damage to that revenant, except he has 4 points of damage resistance against projectile weapons. So that's only 2, because he's essentially a zombie, a delicious gingerbread zombie. So he's only going to take 2 points.
So he's down to 8.
So he's down to 8. So I guess I need to decide whether I'm going to spend my efforts trying to shoot this gingerbread man to pieces or rush up and hack him with a saber. But for now, he has a minor wound from that pistol ball. Now I need to check the book real quick because I think this whole area is shrouded by giant trees, which is why the vampire can move around. and that may affect line of sight. Let me look. Yes, maximum line of sight is 12 inches, according to the book, because this whole area is shrouded by giant trees, and so that's why this little chapel here was lost. It was lost in the trees. So max line of sight is 12 inches. So Long Gun Pete would have to move up a little bit, and perhaps he will. Long Gun Pete is a rifleman with a bayonet and silver shot. His rifle normally has a range of 30 inches, but here in the gloom it's only 12. So he's going to move about 5 inches.
Now he's got clear line of sight to both of them, I think.
Right. So perhaps Long Gun Pete will try to finish off this gingerbread man over here. Long Gun Pete has an accuracy of +2. He did move, though, so that's going to be -1. So we get a 12, 13, 14. -1 is 13, so that's enough to defeat the armor of the gingerbread man. But his skill weapon, his rifle, does 5 points, -4, so only 1 point of damage off that gingerbread man. That's not going to get it done, Pete. So he moved and he shot.
Now what's your captain going to do?
Captain Conager is a supernatural veteran with 2 pistols, silver shot, and a silver hand weapon. He'll move up 6. And that does put him in range to shoot. And Lynn has given me her expert opinion that the Revenant does not get cover. So Conager
Has a +1 accuracy. And -1 for moving.
and that is an 8. That's not enough to do it. So he shot one of his pistols, but he didn't do any damage. So that is my move.
So now the Revenants.
Now the Revenants get to go.
And they have a move of only 4, which is nice, because they're kind of shambly.
Oh yeah, well they're made of gingerbread. Okay. So this Revenant is going to move 4 inches that way. This Revenant is going to move 4 inches this way. Okay, so this Revenant here, this gingerbread man, is almost equidistant to Long Gun Pete and the Colonel. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4 is Long Gun Pete. A 5. So the Revenant's going to move 4 inches toward the Colonel. So this Revenant here shambles toward the Colonel on his little gingerbread legs. The Colonel has a volley gun, though. If he gets 2 or 3 gingerbread men in close proximity, he can blast them all. Another gingerbread man on the move. 4 inches that way. So the way the monster activation works is if a monster can't see a character, he's going to move closer to an objective. So this Ebenezer Scrooge zombie is going to move closer to that objective. We ran out of gingerbread men, but fortunately we have a stockpile of Christmas zombies and animated snowmen, so they will deploy as necessary. So the 12-inch line of sight rule applies to shooting, but we're going to assume that actual awareness extends beyond that. So this Revenant is going to move toward Lucky Bill. All right, so my team activated, then the monster's activated, and now Colonel Bierwagen gets to activate his special team. So you're going to start with Colonel Bierwagen. He is the leader of your team. He has a volley gun. He has a pistol. He's got a silver sword. And then what's his special ability?
He is strong and indefatigable.
Okay, so he does +1 damage in melee, and then he doesn't get fatigued as easily as some other characters. All right, so what's the Colonel going to do?
I can't shoot and then attack, right?
Yes, you can, actually.
Okay, so I'm going to shoot him first.
Yeah, so in this game you can shoot, and then if you're within movement range, then you can move in, and once you're in base to base, you automatically attack. So
I'm going to shoot him first and see what happens.
all right.
So I have +1 accuracy. I haven't moved. So 14.
Okay, so you rolled a 14 against a defense of 12. You do 8 points of damage on the power die because your pistol is a power weapon, and -4 because the Revenant's resistance to projectiles. So that takes him down. What's his damage? What's his hit points?
Hit points are 10.
So that brings him down to 6. You took a chunk out of him, but he's not down.
So we're going to rush up and
Okay.
attack him.
All right, so you're attacking. What is your melee?
Melee is +2.
+2, and the Revenant has a defense of 12?
Yep.
All right. And
Nothing.
4. Now, you could re-roll one of those, but with 2 2s, it probably doesn't make sense to do so.
No, because I need 12.
You have 2 dice in your fate pool that you can use at opportune times, but you dismissed. So the Revenant is going to strike back.
And I have a defense of 14.
Revenant got a 12.
Not good enough.
Not quite good enough, almost. Plus the Colonel is wearing a steel breastplate.
Yes.
Colonel moves back 2. Now we have veteran monster hunter Jonas Lang and Schultz, the lowly infantry guy.
And I think Jonas is in range to shoot.
All right. Going to shoot that same revenant.
Yeah, he's got a +2 on his accuracy.
Oh, that's a good shot. So that is 15, 16, 17.
But only 6.
6 minus 4 is 2 points. So you take the revenant down to 4. Crumbs are flying off, but it's still alive.
And Jonas can do the same thing.
So he's going to rush in. Both these guys got a fatigue marker because they fought in hand-to-hand. So Jonas is attacking. So that means that because the gingerbread man is fatigued, he gets -1 on his defense. So his defense is only 11 now. And 12. That's enough. So you do 5 points of damage on the power die. If that was a projectile, the revenant would get damage resistance, but it isn't. It's a good old-fashioned sword. So that's enough to kill that gingerbread man.
Oh no!
Perfect. So down 1 gingerbread man. Yay.
1 gingerbread man. Now it's time for Schultz. So Schultz could move 6 inches that way and then shoot at that gingerbread man. Okay, Schultz moves up, fires his musket. He is shooting at this gingerbread man over there. Okay, so that's a 12. That'd be a 13, but it's -1 because he moved, so that's a 12. The gingerbread man is a defensive 12, so that hits, but your 5 points of damage is reduced by 4 because it's a projectile, so you do a lowly 1 point of damage to the gingerbread man. So Schultz shoots the gingerbread man, but only does 1 point of damage. So he is down to 6. And that's your whole team.
That is my whole team. But at least we took out a gingerbread man.
Okay, so that is the end of turn 1. So with the death of the innocent little gingerbread man, the call has gone out into the underworld and a vampire has arrived. So we'll roll. We'll start with this corner over here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to determine where the vampire shows up. 8 shows up right over here. Shows up in our corner.
Right where we didn't want him.
So Krampus, the scourge of the holiday season, arrives in the board in our corner, of course, and he's ready to say hi and hand out some coal to all the people who have invaded his gingerbread realm. Okay, and then one more revenant shows up. I guess we'll start here and just kind of go around that way. So I'll just roll a random number. 2. 1, 2.
Here you go.
A gingerbread man repopulates right there. Okay, rolling for initiative. I got a 16.
And I got 13.
You got a 13, so Captain Conager gets to move his crew. Okay, so let's see. I think Captain Conager is going to make a sprint toward one of the objectives. Let's get this show on the road here.
You're trying to escape the vampire.
Well,
There is that in the back of your mind as well.
right. Do we move toward the vampire or away from the vampire?
Away from the vampire. We need to collect all the objectives before
Right.
the other vampire shows up.
So Conager moves up 6. He's going to make a sprint roll. And, oh, that's a good sprint.
So he can get to it.
He can get up to the objective. But he'll have to spend an action next turn to open it up, or try to open it up. So the vampire, aka Krampus, does not have resistance to shooting. He is immune to everything except silver, fire, or blessed weapons. But if you have silver shot, you can shoot him. And you really don't want to get into hand-to-hand with him because he has soul shear, he's hypnotic. There's a bunch of things that just make it disadvantageous to fight him hand-to-hand. So that would be something we would want to shoot rather than a fight. So maybe I will move Long Gun Pete into position to take a shot, even though that may be the end of Long Gun Pete. So I was going to have Long Gun Pete here back up and shoot the vampire, but Lynn reminded me he has shot already, and so he needs to reload. So he's going to use his movement action to reload, and then he will shoot this gingerbread man. So he is saved from making a sacrifice because he didn't have a loaded weapon. So Long Gun Pete is going to shoot this gingerbread guy. Accuracy of +2, he has not moved. He got an 8, a 9, 10.
Do you want to re-roll that too?
I could re-roll that too, but I'm going to save my fate pool for something more important. So that is the tale of Long Gun Pete. He reloaded, he shot, He missed, and there he stands. So Lucky Bill has 2 pistols. He shot one. He can shoot the other one and then run into melee, which is probably what he should do. So we'll do that. So he is shooting. All right, he got 18, 19, 20. So he does 10 points, minus 4 points for the resistance. That's 6 points off this gingerbread man, which is enough to kill it. So way to go, Lucky Bill.
And then instead of moving, he could reload.
Instead of moving, he could reload, or he could attack.
That's true.
So yeah, maybe he'll do that. Maybe he'll rush forward and attack that gingerbread guy just because. Okay, so Lucky Bill is fighting this gingerbread man, and he gets a +2 on his melee. And that is very bad. That is a 2, 3. So he missed. Swoosh. And that gingerbread horror fights back. And he gets a 9, a 10. So he missed. And then Lucky Bill goes back 2 inches. So that's what's going on there. And they each get a fatigue marker for their trouble. So is that all of my guys? Yeah, Captain Conager, Long Gun Pete, and Lucky Bill. And I did manage to kill 1 gingerbread man, so that's something, I guess.
That is something.
So now it's the monster phase, and some stuff's going to happen. So Krampus, a.k.a. the vampire, is back here, and we need to determine who he can see. So I'm going to move the camera for a moment and get down on Krampus level and to look to see who might be in his line of sight. He is ethereal, so terrain is not going to bother him. He can just float right through. So getting down on Krampus level, these guys appear to be obscured by the trees. And Colonel Bierwagen and Jonas Lang the Hunter are in sight. So he will move that way. He moves 6, right?
He does.
All right. Krampus moves this way, singing a Christmas jingle. Okay, so Krampus is moving this way, and it would be a grand idea to shoot him to pieces before he gets within melee range. All right. Gingerbread men everywhere. Okay, so gingerbread men shamble forward on their gingerbread legs. That one goes about 4 that way. This Scrooge zombie here is around the back of the building. He can't really see anybody, and he is next to the objective. So I guess we're just going to leave him there. He's going to park there for the moment until something happens to make him move. At least that's the way we're going to play it. A bunch of gingerbread men here. And this gingerbread man here is going to rush in and fight with Lucky Bill. And he's fatigued. But gingerbread men are indefatigable, so they only get fatigued once. I think Lucky Bill is not, though. So that's actually something to keep in mind. He is a good hand-to-hand fighter, so indefatigable would have been a good skill for him to have, because now if he gets attacked by all these gingerbread men, he may start getting really tired. So he could get 2 fatigue markers rather than just 1. So that gingerbread man attacks Lucky Bill. Lucky Bill has a defense of 13. And Gingerbread Man got a 6, a 7, so that's not going to do it. Lucky Bill will fight back, because why not? And he got a 13, 14, 15, but -1 fatigue.
And they only have a defense of 12, so you hit him.
They hit him. Defensive 11, actually, because they're fatigued. So he's fighting with a fencing weapon, so that is 4 on the skill die, so he does 4 points of damage to that gingerbread man, taking it down to 6. And he's fatigued. And the gingerbread man backs up 2 inches. So Lucky Bill has fired both of his pistol shots, and he's getting kind of tired, and yet there's 3 gingerbread men who want to make his day really lousy. At the end of the turn, though, his fatigue markers go away, so that's good. So I think that is all of the monsters. So now it is time for Colonel Bierwagen and his crew. So you have some options. You have a gingerbread man here. You have some objectives in sight. You have Krampus back here, and he'd like to say hello. So what do you think you're going to do?
So either I can shoot the gingerbread man and then rush in, or I could shoot Krampus and then rush the gingerbread man.
Does Jonas have 2 pistols?
He does.
So Jonas is just barely in range to shoot Krampus. So what he could do is he could shoot behind him with his silver shot, shoot at Krampus, and then turn around and rush the gingerbread man. Sounds like a heroic thing to do.
Yep. So he's got +2 accuracy. And he didn't do it.
Vampire is a defense of 15.
It might be worth re-rolling that 1.
Reroll that 1 with your fate pool.
No, didn't do any good.
He shot his second pistol shot, did not hit Krampus, and now he's going to whirl around and
rush the gingerbread man.
rush the gingerbread man. Oh,
15, so that's a good one.
15, that's enough. And let's see, your power die is 8.
So he is down to 2.
Down to 2.
And he moves back 2 inches.
Well, the gingerbread man fights back.
Fights back, okay.
He strikes back. And he got a 3, so that's not going to do it. And then Jonas goes back 2 inches. So Colonel Bierwagen, vampires to the left of me, gingerbread men to the right of me. What's he going to do? Reload?
He's going to reload and rush the gingerbread man.
Okay. He rushes in with his silver sword to fight the gingerbread man.
And he's got +2. 4. That's not going to do anything.
Okay, so 4, unfortunately, is a miss. So the gingerbread man strikes back. With a 3, that's also a miss. So Colonel Bierwagen moves back 2 inches. And everybody's fatigued.
Now I have Schultz.
All right, and then you have Schultz, your lowly infantry guy.
Schultz is going to reload and move 6 inches.
Okay.
Toward the other objective.
Okay, Schultz is moving up. Trying to get some distance away from Krampus, which is understandable. So there's Schultz. He's on the run, running away from Krampus, and who wouldn't, frankly? Okay, we cleared the fatigue markers and the activation markers, and so now it is turn 3. We do need to spawn a new revenant, so let's see. I'll start here and go around the clock. 2, 1, 2, same tree as last time.
They really like Lucky Bill. He's lucky, all right.
Yeah, they're really eager to say hello to Lucky Bill. All right, rolling for some initiative. I got a 12, and you got a 13. All right, your initiative. Note what's happening here. 1, 2, 3, 4 gingerbread men fighting Lucky Bill. 2 Prussians fighting a single gingerbread man. So just saying.
But they've got the Krampus behind them.
They do have Krampus on the way.
Schultz is going to go for the other objective.
So Schultz has moved up. Now he's going to use an action to try to open that Christmas package. He needs an 8. And he got a 15, so he did.
He did. So let's find out what it is. It's an ace.
The ace of spades. You find a strange candelabra.
Cool.
The investigating figure may pick up the candelabra without spending an action. While carrying the candelabra, all of the figure's attacks count as blessed. So Schultz is now blessed. So Schultz has found a sacred artifact. He could stay and use it to fight the forces of evil, or he could try to escape and get back to headquarters with it. So we'll have to see what happens with Schultz. All right, now we have Colonel Bierwagen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jonas Lang, Master Hunter. And have they each shot once, or did...
Nope, Jonas has shot twice.
Jonas has shot twice. The Colonel still has a pistol and a volley gun.
I'm thinking the Colonel might shoot the gingerbread man.
Okay.
Not good enough.
7's not good enough.
But I can charge in an attack. So he's going to do that.
Colonel rushes in.
And he has +2.
13. That's enough. So the Colonel rolled an 11. +2 is 13, which is enough to defeat the defense of the gingerbread man. He does 2 points in the power die. And because he's fighting hand-to-hand, that is enough to kill that gingerbread guy. Now Jonas Lang, Master Hunter.
Jonas Lang is going to reload.
Okay, he reloads. So Jonas reloaded 1 pistol, and now he's going to move.
Though he can't help Lucky Bill this turn, hopefully he can provide some assistance next turn.
So Jonas Lang is kind of moving this way, and he's going to try to help Lucky Bill fight this horde of gingerbread men that are spawning from this little tree here.
Now it is the gingerbread phase, the monster phase.
So, let's see. I suppose we should move Krampus first. Okay, we measured it out, and it looks like Long Gun Pete is closest to Krampus, so Krampus is going to float that way. He has an early holiday gift for Long Gun Pete. Now over here we have the Battle of the Gingerbread Men, so I guess this guy is going to move up and attack Lucky Bill. Lucky Bill's defense is 13, and that is a 15, 16. So that's enough. And he does 8 points on the power die. So that's 8 points off a Lucky Bill. So that's a pretty good hit.
Because he's only got 12.
He's only got 12. So he's down to 4. His luck is running out. So Lucky Bill takes a hit. Lucky Bill's going to fight back, though. He's going to strike back. And he got a 16, 17, 18. That's 8 points on the skill die, which is enough to kill that gingerbread man. So he kills him. He is fatigued, though. Then this gingerbread man moves in, and he attacks Lucky Bill. So Lucky Bill's defense is down 1 because he's fatigued. So now it's down to 12, right? And let's see, that is a 11 from the gingerbread man, which is not enough.
Lucky Bill is going to fight back.
He's going to fight back. So we got a 14, only +1 because he's fatigued, so that's a 15. He does 8 points with his skill die because he's using a fencing weapon. So that takes the poor little gingerbread man down to 2, and he backs up. And Lucky Bill gets a second fatigue marker, which is the maximum. Okay, another gingerbread man rushes in to fight Lucky Bill.
So he's down to 11 defense.
11 defense. And he got, ooh, this is not good, a 15, a 16, and that would normally do 6 points of damage to kill Lucky Bill. But Lucky Bill is going to use a die from the fate pool to try to reduce damage. So I'm going to roll this die, cut it in half, round up, and that'll reduce the damage. So maybe Lucky Bill can survive. And I got a 3. So that is rounded up to 2. And so that brings us down to 4, which is enough to reduce Lucky Bill to 0 health. So that is the end of Lucky Bill.
Oh no.
Oh no. Lucky Bill. Say it isn't so, Lucky Bill. And I used one of my fate pool for that. I did reduce the damage, but not enough to prevent death or severe wounding. There's a chart at the end you roll to see if people recover.
So we have 2 more to move.
So now this guy will move toward Jonas Lang.
Yep.
Since Lucky Bill is no longer with us. So he moves 4 that way. And then back here, Ebenezer has been patiently waiting for something to happen, and now Schultz has arrived around the corner. So Ebenezer can say hi to Schultz. So he rushes up his 4 inches. Okay. Is that all the monsters?
That's all the monsters. Now it's your turn.
So Long Gun Pete is now very close to Krampus. He could reload and then run, which might be a good thing to do. Or he could try to shoot. He could try to shoot at Krampus. He's got silver shot.
But Krampus has a defense of 15.
Yeah, okay.
You could be brave.
So Long Gun Pete is going to try to sprint. He is going to move this way 6, which is not quite enough to get away. So he's going to make a sprint roll. And sprint for 4. So he's going to sprint 4. He's motivated. So he moves up this way, up by Schultz. So he decided he had a burning desire to come up and talk to his friend Schultz. So he runs up this way. And then Captain Conager is going to use an action to try to open up that present. And he got a 7.
Not enough.
Not enough. Oh, I'm going to use my fate die. And re-roll that 4. Because why not? And it's enough. Just enough to open up that package.
All right.
And it is the 10 of Spades. A jewel-encrusted silver cross. While carrying the cross, all of the figure's attacks count as blessed. It's also a holy symbol. So that is Captain Conager.
Very good.
I'm beginning to think that the candelabra and the cross should be enough for headquarters.
I'm thinking so too.
That should be a sufficient haul to keep headquarters off our backs. So he's found the cross. Now he is going to move 6 inches that way. All right, so that's all of my crew. Conager, Long Gun Pete, and then Lucky Bill is no longer with us. So it is going into turn 4, but before we do that, we need to activate a Revenant. 2, same darn tree. That is a very popular tree. Another Revenant pops up right there.
We know where this chapel is now. I think we need to go to headquarters. We'll come back later for the rest.
That's right. We need to report back. So, once you roll your initiative right there, you got a 9.
Come on, roll low.
And I got a 6.
Okay, good.
So you get initiative.
I needed that.
Okay, so it's your activation.
Schultz is going to sprint.
All right, Schultz is going to run.
Okay, 6.
Move 6. 7, that's 2 additional inches.
We'll take 2.
So Schultz has a musket in one hand and a candelabra in the second, and he's running toward the edge of the board. Okay, next up is Master Hunter Jonas Lang.
He's going to move his 6.
So Jonas has moved up, and he's going to shoot Zombie Ebenezer right there.
He normally would have a +2, but he moved, so he's just got a +1.
All right. 12, 13, that's enough. You do 5 points with the projectile weapon, and the zombie has a resistance of 4, so just 1 point.
We'll take any damage we can get at this point.
Yeah, it is a moral victory. And then finally, you have the Colonel.
The Colonel is going to move, and then he is going to reload.
All right.
So he's going to move 4.
Bierwagen is rolling.
And then 2.
So Bierwagen is moving, and he's going to reload his pistol. It's a stampede toward the edge of the board, away from Krampus.
I don't think we'll get that objective over there.
Yeah, this one here we're probably not going to get, and maybe not this blue one either, but we got 2.
Yeah, we'll come back for the other ones.
That's right. We got the cross and the candelabra. Some other team can come in and mop up. That's okay with us. All right, so
Monster phase.
you had initiative first. Now it's the monster phase. Okay, Krampus is going to move 6. A few characters here that Krampus might like to meet. Then there's a horde of freshly baked gingerbread men, and they're all going to move kind of roughly, kind of 4 that way, 4 that way, another 4, and another 4.
And then Ebenezer.
And finally, Ebenezer. So look, it is a holiday scene. We got Krampus, Ebenezer, and the 3 wise guys, and the Colonel is over here off screen. So that's the monster phase. So it's turn 4 right now. At the end of turn 5, another vampire shows up. So we got to move quickly. Time to run like the wind. So Captain Conager right here is going to take the shortest distance, which I think is
That way, yeah.
kind of this way. Move about 6 that way. And then sprint. And he's going to sprint 4 because he's motivated. Captain Conager is off the board, which is good. Long Gun Pete thinks Conager has the right idea, so he's going to take off this way, away from Krampus. And he's going to sprint. And 10, that's a 2-inch sprint. Puts him about there. So I guess that's my team. So we go into turn 5, but before we do that, we roll for another Revenant. And 1. So right there. So lots and lots of gingerbread men. So the air is filled with the smell of ginger and blood and terror.
Yeah, it's not looking good. We got to get out of here.
All right, let's roll for some initiative. I got a 6. And you got a 4.
Oh, God.
So Long Gun Pete has not reloaded yet. He could reload and shoot, but then he wouldn't be able to run off the board. Okay, here's what we're going to do in the spirit of camaraderie. Instead of running off the board like his instincts tell him he should do, he's going to reload. This is Long Gun Pete. He's reloading. And he's going to shoot his silver shot at Krampus. Now, Krampus is going to get cover because there's a tree in the way. So Krampus has a defense of 15, I think.
Yep.
And Long Gun Pete has a shoot of +2. So let's see what happens here. We need a big roll. And I got a 16, 17, 18. -1 is 17. And that's enough to hit Krampus. And 6 points on the skill die rather than 10 points on the power die because he's a rifleman. But still, 6 points is 6 points.
He has a health of 14.
So it takes him down to 8. Okay. So that's Long Gun Pete, and I guess that's the end of my activation.
Look out, Jonas. Here comes the terror.
So Krampus decides to move up and say hello to Jonas Lang. Vampire has a melee of +3. So Krampus got a 9. 10, 11, 12. Jonas has a defense of what?
14.
14. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So Krampus missed. Jonas can strike back, or he could move away.
I'll move back 2.
You're going to move back 2.
Yep.
So Jonas decided not to engage in hand-to-hand, so he is instead moving back. And now there's Ebenezer.
Mm-hmm.
4, not quite.
Not quite. That's good.
So Ebenezer shambles forward, but because Jonas moved back, he's not quite in range to get there. Jonas does get a fatigue marker, though, for his troubles. And lest we forget, there is a whole host of angry gingerbread men coming around the corner, so we really can't delay too much before getting out of here. They move forward 4, another 4, and almost on top of us.
Yeah.
Another 4, another 4. Yeah, so time is not our friend here. So Colonel Bierwagen's crew, comprised of Schultz, Colonel Bierwagen, and then back here, Jonas Lang.
I'm going to shoot Krampus with Schultz.
So Schultz, before he runs off the board, is going to whirl around. He is blessed because of the relic he found. He has silver shot, and he is going to shoot at Krampus.
And he's got +1 accuracy.
He's within range, even in the murk. And he got 17, 18, and he does 8 points with the power die. So is that enough to kill Krampus?
It is.
He killed Krampus. Schultz killed Krampus. So Schultz gunned down the mighty Krampus, scourge of the holiday season, because he's blessed, no doubt, from that candelabra. So I think we should have flipped that. This should be turn 5, which means another vampire shows up at the end of this turn. So even though you killed Krampus, another vampire is going to be here very shortly.
Schultz is going to run off the board now with his candelabra.
Okay. So he's taking the relic, and he's heading back to the fort.
That means we got both of the relics we did find off the board.
And 2 relics are generously left behind for future teams. So Jonas Lang, what's he going to do?
He is going to make a run for it.
Okay, he's going to run his 6 and then sprint, right?
Yep.
2.
Let's see, is that enough?
So not quite enough to get off the board yet, but no pursuers will be able to catch him, so he's fine. All right, and then Colonel Bierwagen.
He's going to make a run for the edge.
And he sprints 2. Almost.
Almost.
Okay. So with Jonas Lang and Bierwagen at the very edge of the board, Long Gun Pete is left to hold the line, and he wants to go home too, so hopefully he will get initiative. But first, it is the end of turn 5, and we have to roll for a Revenant and
A Krampus.
Krampus Reborn. All right, so starting at this corner, then going to that corner, and then that corner there, and then this one over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I got
3.
a 3. So Krampus is reborn by the forces of dark consumerism, and so he appears back on the board, ready to be the scourge of the holiday season once again.
Now we need another Revenant. I think all of our gingerbread men are on the board, so it's going to be a snowman.
Starting here and going around. 2. This famous tree right here now gets an animated snowman. Yeah, they took the magic hat from an executed mass murderer and put it on a snowman, and that's what they got. All right, rolling for initiative so Long Gun Pete can escape, and I got a 13.
I got a 6.
You got a 6.
Good. That's what we needed.
All right, so Long Gun Pete is making a run for it. He gets right to the edge with his 6. And yeah, he sprints 2, which is more than enough. So he escapes. So all the monsters charge in, just to make it dramatic. They charge in, Krampus shows up, and Bierwagen and Jonas Lang just hop off the board during their turn. All right, I guess that is a wrap on our Silver Bayonet holiday special. Lucky Bill is badly wounded or perhaps dead. We don't know yet. We'll have to roll on the magic chart and see if he returns. So anyway, the Prussians and the pirates were able to escape with 2 relics. They didn't get all 4, but they did get 2. The candelabra and the cross.
And they did manage to take out 1 vampire.
And they did kill 1 Krampus. Though perhaps this is a new Krampus or the old Krampus reborn, we don't know. But he's hopping mad over that. They marched into his territory, they killed his gingerbread men, and they shot him and stole his treasures. So he's pretty unhappy about that. Okay, folks, we hope you enjoyed today's festive game of the Silver Bayonet. Please leave a comment and let us know what you think. And of course, if you like the video, a thumbs up is always appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time.